Hey, I'm Candace, your host, and if you're ready to grow your business and build your authority by getting booked on podcasts, I've got something special for you. I'm launching a brand new course that will walk you through exactly how to get booked on podcasts. Everything from identifying the right shows to pitching, preparing for interviews, and leveraging your guest appearances for growth. Plus, if you sign up for the waitlist now, you'll get early access to the course and these special bonuses. When you officially enroll in the course, you'll save $50 and get a free one-on-one strategy call with me to help you prep your speaking points and align your offers. These bonuses are limited and end on April 13th, so make sure to sign up today. Head to the link in the show notes to join and get started on your podcast guesting journey. I can't wait to help you get booked and start sharing your message with the world. Now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back for a new episode. Today I have Maggie Hunter on, and she currently lives in South Florida with her 7-year-old son and mini goldendoodle, Artemis. You might also find her up in the sky flying with her 18-year-old college son, who is a pilot. Guided by her formal education and training, she navigates her journey with a foundation in clinical psychology, evolutionary astrology, and shamanic practices. As a seeker who is deeply rooted in spiritual exploration, she is dedicated to personal growth and evolution. Building on her 6-figure manifestation coaching business success, she now integrates astrology into her practice, using birth charts as energetic roadmaps to offer a deeper, more personalized journey for her clients towards fulfillment and prosperity. She is committed to this work to help women connect with their wholeness and truth, enabling them to become beacons of light on this planet. When women are free, unbound, and aligned with their life purpose, the world changes. You guys, this episode is for my woo sisters. It is full of all the woo, but there's also science and there's also entrepreneurship journeys highlighted in this. So there's a little bit of something for everyone. Okay, so welcome. Tell me a bit about how you got to where you are now in your journey.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here and contribute to your amazing community. My journey has been a process of many deaths and rebirths of identity. Most of my life has revolved around living for others' expectations of how they needed me to be for them, in particular, controlling men, having to go through massive crises in order to break these strong karmic patterns. And I've always felt very floaty in the world with a lack of direction and purpose, and basically just engaging in lots of people pleasing and codependent behaviors, and really experiencing a significant disconnection from my true sense of self. 7 years ago, my life took a dramatic turn after enduring a horrific divorce from someone with narcissistic tendencies. And this intense experience put so much energetic pressure on my soul that it led to a spiritual awakening, where as I completely deconditioned myself from relationships entirely for 5 years when I went on this personal soul excavation. And I did all the self-discovery things, right? Most do on their spiritual awakening journey. I even mentored with the shaman for 2.5 years to become an esoteric practitioner. During this time, I experienced this profound internal summons. I don't even have other words for that, but to contribute and serve in a capacity that I hadn't done before, because up until then, it was like my identity had been intertwined with being a mom and being a psychotherapist. Favorite roles in the world, by the way. Yet I had this overwhelming feeling that I couldn't shake. And also the desire to work from home became paramount because it was really important to me to maintain the closeness I had with my kids. So I started my own manifestation coaching business.
Love it.
I was obsessed with manifestation. I still am. I'm a 5/1 in human design. I saw that you were a projector. I'm a projector as well.
Oh, okay.
You're a 1/3. Yes. So you know about the one. The one is the extensive researcher that eventually becomes the expert from digging so deep into the subject matter.
Yes.
So I took all of my knowledge from research, also my experience as a psychotherapist and an esoteric practitioner, and I just freaking went for it. I utilized the help of many different coaches. Big fan of coaching to get further faster. My business did very well until I had an existential crisis. I completely just hit a wall. And as a manifestation coach, esoteric practitioner, and also growing up as a Christian, aware of the co-creative power we hold with the universe, I still felt like something vital was missing in this traditional manifestation process. I felt like it lacked purpose and direction. And it really just felt like elusive, still aimlessly throwing darts into into the dark and hoping that they land on the target, right? I went into this void space. I knew and I felt in my soul that I could not teach manifestation from a place of feeling like this about it. And I had no idea what direction to pivot into because I still didn't have a solid understanding of who I was. And I didn't feel connected to my purpose. I feel like a lot of people that go through spiritual awakenings first start as a manifestation coach because they don't know what their niche is, right?
Yeah.
It was such a scary place for me to be in because I knew that it was absolutely vital to know who you are and to tangibly be able to describe what you do as a spiritual entrepreneur, right? It's the foundation in which our entire business is built upon. Soon, really soon, I found the missing piece that led me to exactly where I needed to go. And the missing piece was the earth-shattering for me, because it really was earth-shattering insights offered by Evolutionary Astrology, which provides a map of our soul's journey across lifetimes. And Evolutionary Astrology offered me the most beautiful path to align with my purpose, the reason why I'm on the planet, and pivot my career towards doing something that was aligned with my own unique gifts and talents and soul journey with so much more ease, because I cannot tell you, Candace, how many courses I purchased.
Yeah.
High-end, literally like 15K business masterminds that I was a part of that intended, with the best intentions to help me identify my niche, my ideal client, get my messaging dialed in, and create offers from that awareness. That didn't help at all. I just felt more lost and hopeless because ideal client and niche worksheets do not identify who you are as a soul on a journey here to help others overcome exactly what you've overcome, right? It's just too generic and homogenized. So for me, this transition was less about changing professions. It was more about embracing my calling and achieving financial success and sustainability through that calling. So that's where I am today. And when I really connect to the essence of my work, I help women understand themselves on a soul level and become aware of why they are here, who they are here to help, connect to and embody what really makes them unique and financially sustainable, right? And everything that comes with walking them through that in their business. And of course, helping them to build a business in the process. I truly believe that we all have potential that's extremely unique to each one of us for financial success, for financial sustainability through our soul work, and it's woven into our cosmic blueprint.
So there's a lot we're going to touch on. First, were you always an entrepreneur? Was the beginning of regular like 9 to 5, you work for someone else? And how was that transition into entrepreneurship?
No, the answer is no. I actually became a mom in my early 20s. I have an almost 19-year-old now. And I was just going to school. I didn't even work up until my 30s when my late husband committed suicide. And I had a 5-year-old at the time. And it was during my Saturn return, perfect timing, a maturation process where we have to grow up and figure out what we're going to do. And because of everything that I had gone through with him and also loving psychology, I went back to school and got a grad degree in psychology. So that's what I knew in my 30s.
So you did that for a while and then you switched into entrepreneurship. How did you know when it was time to branch out onto your own?
Second crises that I went through was that I'm telling you, these massive crises that I went through to break these strong karmic ties. That horrific divorce that I went through, I had a very small child, a child under 1 at the time. And the desire to work from home really was paramount for me. And I was like, okay, here I am. The whole experience led me to have a spiritual awakening. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm a soul, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm on a spiritual journey and wow, we co-create our reality. So I went into all of these different modalities and learning and exploring. And I'm like, I am not going back to work. I do not want to leave my little ones. I want to stay at home. And that's what encouraged me to branch off as an entrepreneur.
It's like when you learn that there's another choice that you can make and that you are a human being that has a choice in the matter, it is an awakening. I think we're so lost in the grind and the hustle that the world sets up for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And it just turns turns into this hamster wheel, and we don't often reflect or pause to realize, am I enjoying this? Could I choose something different? Do I want to choose something different? And you realize that it can be really powerful, but also can kind of sometimes be scary because it means there's change coming. So that's always nerve-wracking. What advice would you have for entrepreneurs then as they navigate the early stages of, should I leave my 9-to-5 job? Should I start a side business while I'm working my 9-to-5? Do you have any advice navigating or knowing how and when it's time for you to follow those nudges or those next steps? Are you an entrepreneur looking to start or grow your business while feeling supported and seen every step of the way? Join the Aligned Business Collective, the monthly membership I co-host with Andrea Hansen and Brittany Williams, designed for entrepreneurs like you. This is your space to connect, learn, and build a business that truly works for you, while we hold you accountable with our weekly calls and on-demand coaching. Head to the link in the show notes to learn more and join today.
As moms, it's really difficult for us to even connect to our own desires, right? Especially if you have small children. It's like we're putting everyone ahead of ourselves. So I would say the first thing is to really connect to, what do you desire? What do you want out of life? And is this an astrological question? Because my first answer is going to be, get an evolutionary astrology reading to understand your soul journey. Because when you really understand that we are all souls on a soul journey, we all have a higher calling, we all have a higher purpose for being here, it gives us permission to follow that desire. And it takes that guilt away from actually doing something that's not super at home mom related, or what the societal conditioning has told us we needed to be, right? Whether it be that 9-to-5 job or just be a stay-at-home mom. Let's talk a little bit more about business before we dive into your expertise. But is there any entrepreneur hacks or advice that you know now that you wish you knew earlier on? For me, the most important thing to do right from the beginning is to get your priorities straight, because there's so much time in the day. I mean, I wish there was 20 extra hours, but there's not. So when you figure out what your priorities are and what needs to stay and what needs to go, you create more time for yourself. Because when we're building a business, there is so much to do. There's so much to do in so little time. So being efficient and being effective and having a plan. I'm very, very big on having a plan. If you don't have a plan, you can plan to fail. That's just the way it is. So figure out your priorities, really create a plan that's aligned with your schedule, follow the plan, and take action. I hear a lot of times that take massive action. Quantum leap is not massive action. A quantum leap is taking small, consistent steps on a daily basis that is aligned with the plan that you've created for yourself. I couldn't agree more. And having your priorities mapped out really can help make your decision making a lot easier, because is it aligned to my priorities in the season of life or not? And then it's a quick yes or no, and you don't have to sit and think, should I be working on this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Right. It just simplifies everything. So it is worth the time to pause and even write out or journal out, what are your priorities right now? And really have that at the forefront. I couldn't agree more. Moving into some of your expertise, because this does help with some of those entrepreneurial journeys and leaps and choices over time. How can knowing your astrological chart help you in your own personal life and professionally? Understanding your natal chart is understanding the fundamental principle of we are all souls on a spiritual journey, and each one of us has a soul mission and purpose. And right, that looks completely different throughout life. We go through seasons of evolution. That's the reason why we pivot, right? We grow and we evolve. And by recognizing this one principle alone, we can give ourselves permission to embrace our soul mission and purpose with a lot less guilt. Because I mean, as moms, pivoting is difficult because we take our whole family with us. Yes. And I know it's easier said than done, right? Like I get it, as a single mom, like the pressures can feel even more pronounced, but it's important to remember that by embracing our soul's journey and pursuing our goals, we're actually setting an example for our children about the importance of self-discovery, perseverance, living authentically, right? And demonstrating how to balance personal aspirations with caring for others teaches them the valuable life lessons about responsibility, ambition, and emotional intelligence. The tangible ways that astrology can help you is to learn about your soul story in terms of what is your purpose for existing. I think it was the Blue Zone on Netflix. Okay, so they follow like 6,000 people and they ask them a bunch of questions about how, because in the Blue Zone, they are known to live a very, very long time, like over 100 years old.
Okay.
So research showed that people who knew and can verbalize what their life purpose was and why they wake up in the morning live longer, better lives. So you just feel better when you're purposeful.
Yeah.
And when we feel better, we're just better humans. We're better moms, we're better friends, better everything.
Absolutely. You looked up my chart, I know, and I haven't heard too much about it yet. And I just want to say, Maggie and I didn't know each other before this, and we're meeting today for the first time to record. We were connected by a friend of ours. So I think this might be a good time to share pieces of that to give a real life example of knowing those pieces can really transform and lead you.
Fate represents the karmic blueprint, our natal chart we arrive with in this incarnation. And it basically sets the stage for our entire evolutionary journey. It's a blueprint of your subconscious mind, revealing your unconscious motivations, desires, and fears that drive your behavior. And within that blueprint, it encompasses the gifts, the challenges, the strengths, the potential paths laid out for us to explore and grow from and evolve into. And most importantly, because I'm super tangible, also the direction our soul wants us to grow into. So as much as the word fate may have this negative connotation, like we can't change our fate, it's actually very helpful in the tangible process of evolving because it's what actually provides the map. Where we have planets located in our chart is where we have karma to work through in order to evolve. And then this is where the destiny comes in. So you can think of our soul journey as a video game. Do your kids play video games?
Yes.
They do. Okay.
They like
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Yep. So we start at the beginning of each new board with exactly what we left off with in the last board. So we've lost things, we've won things, we've gained new superhero suits, we've learned how to stay alive and overcome scary obstacles. And now we have to continue learning from failing so many more times in making new decisions based upon the new obstacles to win things and ultimately get to the next board. So if we tie this back into our human journey, we incarnate and we have a story from our past lives. And our soul is here to get bigger, brighter, and better, more evolved with each new obstacle we face. And if we get stuck in autopilot on the same board for too long, right, we start to feel dead inside because it's a natural process to evolve and change. And this is kind of like what I was saying with as moms and connecting to desire.
Yeah.
As moms, we get so far away from allowing ourselves to desire something outside of raising our kids.
Right. Question. So like staying in that same space for too long, you mentioned it makes you feel dead inside. Is that also maybe where burnout can come together too, in that repetitive, not listening to yourself loop?
Yes, I feel like there's two things here. The answer to your question is absolutely, because it's very connected to our emotional nature, our internal emotional landscape, and that's our moon sign. And it's like if we're not taking care of ourselves and nurturing ourselves the way we're meant to be nurtured, and also following and changing and evolving, yes, total burnout. So desire, in the sense of desire, the nature of desire is the only reason why we're here as souls experiencing life in a human body. They're actually called separating desires. And the last desire is to return to source. So every single desire you have was literally put into your heart to take action on in order to evolve.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So everyone has a purpose, a direction their soul wants them to go into. Everyone has a success signature in their chart to be financially sustainable, and purposes change throughout life, right? There's no wrong or way of doing things. You know, someone may only want to be a mom for some time, and that's okay. I did too. So what's most important is to become aware of those inner sensations of your soul speaking to you when it is time to make a change, and also to give yourself permission to do that. And as you take action, this is the destiny part. As you take action on your desires, you are healing and evolving your karma, which is ultimately creating your destiny.
So this is connecting so many dots for me because I feel like in my coaching and my personal growth, I have called these things like you need time to reflect so that you can check on yourself and learn how you're doing and get in tune with your intuition. And that you get quiet, you listen, and you're saying it with these astrological, spiritual terms. But as I'm listening, I'm like, this is exactly
Yes.
like what I've been trying to follow specifically in the last couple of years, trying to do just so deeply and passionately to continue to follow my own journey and to help the clients that I work with. So this is really connecting a lot of dots because it's matching all of that, which is interesting, but just using a different vocabulary.
For sure. And it's so interesting that you said a couple of years because you have Saturn transiting your first house of identity and it's now in Pisces. So the past, I would say, year and a half, specifically, you have been exploring intuition and noticing those feelings in your body. It's so interesting how this happens. Like you cannot make this stuff up.
Well, a year and a half ago would be when I left my teaching career. And I've been on this entrepreneurial 100% journey of figuring that all out.
That is incredible. I did not know that.
Right. No, you couldn't have known that. Interesting. Okay.
All right. I'm going to read the structure of your soul from the perspective of evolutionary astrology. The South Node represents where you came from and where your soul wants to evolve away from. It's your comfort zone. But you're not meant to just forget about your South Node. We have so many innate gifts to take with us into our next evolution. And your South Node is in the 8th house in Libra, ruled by Venus in your 11th house in Capricorn. So you came into this lifetime knowing about things like compromise and negotiation and diplomacy and how to create balance and peace. In the 8th house suggests that you had past lives of being in marriages that didn't really allow for you to be self-reliant, and you were most likely to feel how unfair the marriages were in regard to not allowing you to further your education and be self-sustainable with your own ventures. And you most likely sacrificed your own talents for the sake of that partner.
Okay.
Your partners were most likely to be a part of visionary groups of men. This is the 11th house in Capricorn, and it didn't really allow you to follow your own dreams. It's like you love the ideas of these very scientific humanitarianism and these revolutionary trailblazing groups, but you were not able to use any of it to build anything for yourself. Now, there's always wounding from our South Node, or else we wouldn't have a desire to come back here and change anything. And you can see that in your Chiron placement. In your chart, the Chiron placement looks like a key. It actually looks like a key, the symbol. And when you begin to heal your Chiron placement, the key unlocks the skills of where your Chiron placement is. So our Chiron is a place that becomes our greatest strength as a soulpreneur and is the medicine we end up providing to others as we heal. And yours is in your 4th house in Gemini. So your past life experiences created wounding around being held back from learning and speaking your own truth, communication, which created feelings of emotional insecurity, maybe not feeling confident, not being sure about yourself. I think it's so beautiful that you have a podcast. And I didn't know you were a teacher prior. So this is like literally your Chiron placement where you're dropping these soul level transmissions to help others, that's aligned with your own soul journey of becoming a successful entrepreneur. It's just like wild to me. So now your past life story led you to have a desire. And that's why you're here in a human body. And it's represented by your Pluto placement in Scorpio in the 9th house. Pluto symbolizes, for everyone, Pluto symbolizes deep transformation, rebirth, power, and the subconscious forces that drive us. It represents the process of breaking down structures to rebuild them stronger and more authentically. When Pluto is in Scorpio, its natural rulership, which you have, its power is amplified. Scorpio is a sign associated with depth intensity, and the desire to explore the mysteries of life and death. And this could be like the metaphorical life and death. It doesn't actually need to be like death,
Right.
like transformation, right?
Endings, things like that.
Endings. It's concerned with transformation and the need to penetrate the surface of things to discover what lies beneath. So Pluto in Scorpio intensifies the desire for truth, spiritual insights, and deep transformative experiences. And then the ninth house, where it's located in astrology, is associated with higher education, philosophy, long distance travel, exploration of different cultures and belief systems. It represents the quest for meaning and truth in this broader understanding of the world and our place in it. So your Pluto in Scorpio in the ninth house is on a powerful journey of transformation through the exploration of the deeper and hidden truths of existence. You're not satisfied with superficial explanations at all.
Definitely.
But are driven to uncover these ultimate truths about life, death, and the universe. And you're likely to undergo significant transformations in your own life through your engagement with philosophy, spirituality, religion, and other belief systems. So your beliefs may be intensely personal, like shaped through some of your own profound experiences that challenged and deepened your understanding of the world. So your quest for knowledge is not casual. It's this like,
it is not.
no, it's like in this intense and all-consuming passion to understand the mysteries of life. Does that resonate?
Yes.
So with this placement, you have the potential to be a powerful teacher, which we know.
I was good at teaching. Yes. That's why it was hard to leave, because you're like, well, I'm good at this, but it's also draining the life out of me because I don't know how to just give part of myself at that job. It was like pouring everything out. And then I'd come home to my own kids and then feel terrible as a mother. That was what mostly went into that decision.
That's completely understandable. So with this placement, like I said, you have the potential to be a powerful teacher, a writer, even an influencer, especially in the fields that involve deep investigation and the transformation of belief systems in particular. And your insights that you have with this placement can be penetrating and transformative, but they're capable of changing the way others see the world. And I'm sure you did this through your teaching as well.
For sure.
Yeah. So your evolutionary goal is to transcend the limitations of existing belief systems and to experience a rebirth of consciousness. And this involves facing the shadows within yourself and society and undergoing this profound inner transformation and then emerging with a renewed understanding of what truth and meaning is. My favorite thing about this is that you have Mars in a pretty close orb to an opposition to your Pluto. And this is your podcast. What this means is that, so Mars is how we act upon and get that desire fulfilled. And you have Mars right on that third house cusp of communication and social media and learning. So you have this deep need to dive down into the sea and come back with truths where you can share your wisdom with others. And that's your podcast. So now your North Node is in Aries, and the lunar nodes are mathematical points in the sky. They're not actual planets or asteroids. So your North Node is the trajectory where your soul wants to move into. A lot of people call them like destiny nodes because it's the actual trajectory you want to go in. And your North Node is in Aries in the second house, conjunct your moon, which is super powerful. You were meant to uncomfortably, because it's not our comfort zone, right? To become an entrepreneur and to create your own source of financial success. And your moon is here. So your emotions are so closely tied to your financial security and also the ability to act on your desires and ambitions. And you picked this because your soul came here to get shit done. This is very significant. When you have like your emotional body connected to a node, it means that like you're coming here and you're getting it done. It is a big signifier of not avoiding that. It's unavoidable because your emotions are so strongly tied to that area of life and it's connected to your north node. So naturally your soul's like, we're done. We're tying some stuff up here. And that also goes with your rising sign. So you have a lot of planets, not a lot, but you have more than most. So something that is rare is called the 29th degree.
Okay.
And 29th degree is very karmic, and it's really coming here to close things up, finish things up, and get stuff done. Your Aquarius ascendant, usually ascendant is what is emerging, what is new, who we came here to be, entirely someone different. It's like the vehicle that we chose to ride in this life. And then the 12th house right behind it, because there's 12 houses, represents your karma, where you left off in your story.
Okay.
And you also have Aquarius there. What this means is you came here to finish up those Aquarian things, those scientific things in a spiritual way, because most of your first house is Pisces. So you are very metaphysical because the meta is spiritual and the physical is science. This is Aquarius and Pisces.
Okay.
So you came here to finish up things and start new processes that involve spirituality, raising consciousness, and helping others to do the same through entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like what you do.
Yes. Yes, that does make a lot of sense.
That's the structure of your soul. I could take 2 hours and dig into and dive into your chart, but that alone is your soul journey. And you can see how many nuggets of wisdom we just pulled out for a new entrepreneur that is like, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I start? Why am I here? How do I even move forward? So one of the major things to look at in your chart when you are an entrepreneur, you want to understand your own potential for accumulating wealth, your attitude towards money, and how you manage your resources. It's about the second house is this placement, and it's about what you value in the material world, from your possessions all the way to your financial security. And beyond mere money, this house represents what you deeply value, including your self-esteem and the worth you place on your skills and abilities. Your values shape your approach to wealth, right? Influencing how you earn, spend, and save. So the second house in astrology is often called a money house. I really wouldn't look at it as just a money house. It's our self-worth. And self-worth is positively correlated with how much money we make. So how much we value ourselves. Venus is the natural ruler of the second house, is ultimately going to dictate the kind of action that we are going to take, right? Because if we're not confident, we're not taking action. So the resources governed by the second house also include your natural talents and skills, the ones that can be converted into material wealth. It highlights your potential to earn through your innate abilities or learn skills so you can gain insights into your preferred ways of earning money and potential sources of income. So I'm going to go into your chart, but just for an example, and you have a second house in Aries. So second house in Aries might suggest an entrepreneurial spirit, where Taurus can indicate a more steady and traditional approach to wealth accumulation. Aries and Taurus, two complete different zodiac. Aries is like, let's go. I want to act upon my desires. And Taurus is like, wait, we got to be more steady. We need a more traditional approach. We got to go a little slower here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read your second house. Now, to understand your second house, if you want to do this for yourself, is we have to look at the second house zodiac sign. What zodiac sign is on that cusp? We also want to look at where Taurus is located in your house on your zodiac wheel. And then we want to find Venus, where that symbol, where that planet is located in your chart. And then we can synthesize how you are meant to accumulate wealth.
Okay.
So for you, Candace, your Venus is in Capricorn in the 11th house. And this placement suggests a pragmatic and disciplined approach to forming social connections and pursuing collective goals, because it's in the 11th house. And your method of attracting wealth Venus, our attractor, is through serious long-term planning and leveraging your network of friends and acquaintances, which seems like you do through potting and the planning. And Venus in Capricorn values stability, reliability, and also status, which means you might be drawn to more established groups or organizations that can offer not just like social fulfillment, but also material benefits. The 11th house placement underscores the potential for financial gains through group associations, also collaborative ventures. I see that you have a program now that's beginning.
Yeah, I was going to say, I literally just on February 1st launched a membership with my two best friends.
Yes, I saw that. And I love this so much for you. This is perfect for you. So your approach to relationships and wealth creation is very strategic, and it emphasizes on contributions that promise these enduring value and support your ambitions. It's like friends, social groups, it's being pragmatic, it's social fulfillment, but also with material benefits. So that is your Venus in Capricorn in the 11th house. We're going to go to Taurus in the 3rd house. You also have Mars here. Mars is responsible for getting it done. Mars is our instinctual nature to take action. So Taurus in your 3rd house, you have an inherent talent for building wealth through communication, local community involvement, and leveraging your immediate environment, because the 3rd house is our immediate environment, while the opposite, the 9th, is abroad. The presence of Mars in this house adds this dynamic energy to your communications and thought processes. And it's driving you to actively pursue and defend your values and financial interest, because Taurus is our values and financial interest. So this combination suggests a really strong ability to advocate for yourself, a talent for persuasive communication, also financial opportunities through writing, through speaking, and commerce. Did you just start your journal?
Yes, in September.
So you are doing all the right things for wealth accumulation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like you already had a reading, Candace.
That's super interesting, because I feel like I'm just whatever I desire or whatever sounds fun and exciting, I've been following it and figuring out how to do it and make it happen along the way. But maybe that's the Mars that's taking over of like, well, we have this desire, then we're just going to do it. We don't know all these things. So now I have a really random set of skills because of all the things that I had to go figure out in order to make things happen. Interesting.
So the last thing is you have Aries on your 2nd house, and this is your whole synthesis of your 2nd house wealth accumulating stuff. So Aries on the cusp of your 2nd house indicates that you have an assertive and pioneering approach to earning and managing your resources. You're likely to be bold in financial matters with an entrepreneurial spirit that's not afraid to take risks. So your financial habits may lean towards spontaneity and innovation, and your approach to wealth creation is very proactive, with a preference for initiatives that you feel promise quick returns or involve like a certain level of competition. Aries is like the fighter. We all need the fighter in us to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, I am competitive.
Are you?
Yes, I have a big sports background. I played college basketball, and my whole house growing up was athletic, and everything we did was a competition. So
oh my gosh, this is perfect. What you said, you were like, so I wonder how this is happening. Maybe it's the Mars. I really believe that this Saturn that has entered your 1st house in the past year and a half, you've really come to feel, I just got like a electric zap when I closed my eyes. I can actually feel you. I have Neptune and Moon in my 12th house, and I often feel electricity. Your Pisces in the 1st house is extremely intuitive. Who you are is you're just like a walking intuitive machine. So Saturn is forcing you to, because Saturn is where we want to focus our hard work. It's in each house for 2.5 years, and Saturn rewards us for our hard work. So Saturn is here and it's forcing you to go into your own subconscious, go into your own intuitive abilities and to bring those out. And I feel like you're just beautifully following your intuition. Like I said, it's like you already had a astrology reading.
Oh, I did not, but this is all like lining up, and that's really cool. And it's really affirming because sometimes you are an entrepreneur and you're like, I don't know if this is where I'm supposed to go, but we're just gonna figure it out.
When we talk about transits, and one thing that I would tell your listeners is if you are making a pivot or you have a question, go get a transit reading. Because transits, the planets in the sky, so our astrological natal chart, the roadmap that we were built with, born with, is a map, but it's not static, which means there's planets in the sky right now. The energies are interacting with our natal planets in order to transition them and evolve, because that's the whole point, right? Evolution. So when we look at our transits, we're like, oh, that's our next evolution. That's why I'm feeling this way. So you have Pluto that just entered your 12th house. So how long have you been feeling like this for? Maybe like a year?
Yeah, not very long.
So I would say anywhere from 6 months to a year, you've been feeling like this because Pluto just entered your 12th house. Now, the 12th house, I have my moon and Neptune here, and I love being behind the scenes for everything. It's actually difficult for me to be seen because I'm so comfortable behind the scenes. Pluto is going into that area of your life and it's transforming your subconscious mind. You're going to go through lots of deconditioning of who you thought you were to who you are going to become. But when we look at it in terms of being behind the wall instead of being the face, this is Pluto in your 12th house. It's behind the scenes.
Okay.
So Pluto is very, very powerful and it's in this house for you. So I think that this is great.
It's a good season for that. Okay. Okay. Anything else you want to share?
Anyone that is skeptical about using astrology to explore their soul mission, their higher calling, what they came here to do, a lot of people may be skeptical about reincarnation in particular. And when we integrate concepts from, I love doing this because I have a minor in physics. So I'm like, oh, I get to use this now. When we integrate the concepts from quantum physics, we can provide a more scientific perspective of this. The first law of thermodynamics, which states that energy cannot be created or destroyed,
right,
but only transformed from one form to another. It supports the idea that our soul, our energy, continues to live on forever, even after our body lays down to rest. If you're skeptical and you believe in science and you understand that, energy is not created or destroyed, I would really just experiment for yourself. Get a chart reading, get a transit chart reading, understand the structure of your soul, understand what makes you magnetic, and just experiment with it for yourself.
Couldn't agree more. This was certainly insightful for me. And usually I make up interview questions as I go. And I'm like, there's so much that you gave and threw at me, which was amazing. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know where do we go now?
I'm so happy.
I always ask everybody, what message would you like the listeners to take away if they remember nothing else from today?
Living brave is about living authentically, being brave enough to follow your own heart instead of just doing what everyone else expects. It's about knowing who you are, trusting in that, and showing up as your true self everywhere you go. It's not just about being true to yourself. It's a powerful statement that says, this is me, and that's enough. And when we do this, we're not just standing up for ourselves, we're showing others that it's okay to do the same. So it's like starting a quiet revolution, one where being real is the most courageous thing that we can do.
That was beautifully said. That was wonderful. Where can everybody connect with you?
You can find me on Instagram and my website, both at unboundcollective.co. And I have a free astrology basics guide that is not basic at all. And if you sign up, then you can receive updates and anything that I have to offer in the future.
Perfect. I will link all that in the show notes, and I think you will be seeing me subscribing here shortly.
Thank you so much. This is such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready for podcast mentoring, whether it's setup, editing, planning, or guesting, you can book a one-on-one call with me through the link in the show notes. I hope you feel seen, inspired, and like your dreams and goals are completely valid, because they are. See you next Tuesday.